Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
All right, welcome to the show. It's Clarence Fisher, and today I have on the show Miss Raven Blair Glover. I'm going to tell you, I myself am excited for the interview today because as I'm looking through everything that she's done and that she's doing, I have so many questions to ask myself. But Raven Blair Glover is a former CNN radio personality, a.k.a. the Talk Show Maven, and you're going to see why. She's known by many as the queen of interview marketing and conversion. She's the recipient of the 2016 President Lifetime Achievement Award, the Global Women's Outstanding Leadership Award, and the Giant Community Award. Now, I'm not going to tell you how I saw that she got started in all this. I'm just going to go ahead and bring her on and tell you herself. Miss Raven, are you there?
I am here, Clarence. Hello, and thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for accepting. As I was, we were talking pre-show, I think, and there's so much that is in your story and that you've accomplished. How did all this get started?
Ooh, wow. Thank you for asking that. I love sharing my story because a lot of people think I come from a strong background, went to school for years and stuff with broadcasting. And it's so not the story, Clarence. What actually happened is my mom got ill in 2006, February 6, 2006 to be exact. And she went into the hospital. We thought she was going to have surgery and be out like in a few hours, which she did have surgery, but something went wrong. They found a blood clot in her leg, and so she had to go back in, and there were complications from that. She ended up being in a hospital ICU unit itself for 3 weeks. And because we lost our dad from mistakes at the hospital years prior to that, my sister and I and my son decided that we were going to just stay at the hospital with her. So for 3 weeks, we lived there, showered there, slept there, the whole thing. And when Mother was awoke, we were right there making sure there was no accidents made and all that. When she slept, I, would get on the computers and would do some research on how to do shows. And the way that came about is I was on a call from the hospital of Alex Mendozian, and I had signed up on a payment plan to do his teleseminar secrets course. Well, on that call from the hospital, he mentioned that the quickest way to become an expert, Clarence, was to go out there and interview experts, to find a niche that you were passionate about, and to go out there and interview those people that have paved the way. And so I was always kind of passionate about sales. So my thought was, okay, I'm going to take this course and I'm going to do teleseminars and interview people about sales. Well, being at the hospital, I had to read a lot of motivational books and keep my spirits uplifted so I could keep moms uplifted. So I slightly changed that and decided I was going to do a show called Women Power, and it was going to empower women to go for their dreams and visions. Because as I watched my mom, I wondered, number one, was she going to make it, Clarence? And number two, had she lived her life to do the things she wanted, or was most of her life doing things to help us? And she really didn't have much of a life, because as I thought back, I didn't really remember my mom doing a lot of traveling and, just doing a lot of stuff. It was always doing things for us. She was truly the matriarch of the family. And so I decided to take Alex phrase, his quote, the quickest way to become an expert is to interview experts. I took a piece of paper. I wrote down all kind of people I wanted to interview. I wrote down some topics. And then when mothers slept at night, I would use the hospital computer in the ICU unit where we all had to share a computer. And I would Google how to do a radio show, how to do a podcast, how to interview. And that's how my story began. I got so excited. I started telling the nurses, and they say, you've been here with your mom. You're here day in, out. Tell you what, when the big chiefs, meaning their bosses, leave late at night, after, I could come in like from 10 at night and stay till about 5 in the morning and use their private computer behind their desk. And I used that time to teach myself how to do radio. That's how my story started. And I was 55 years old, making $10 an hour, working about 20 hours a week. And that's where I was at that time. So I've come a long way, baby. I ain't where I want to be, but thank God I ain't where I used to be.
Wow. Wow. So at 55, you decided to go and make this switch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's awesome. So,
yeah.
So you have, so you started there and got really good at it. And now so good that you teach other people. Is it mainly women?
Well, I will definitely say 90% of maybe it used to be 90%, probably now more 75% are women, and they just tend to be baby boomers and beyond. Mm-hmm. And the rest are men. A lot of men found out about my Women Power show and started telling people that they should listen to it, their wives, that they should listen to it, because I never did the men bashing or anything like that. It's always helping women to get past abuse, helping them get past their struggles, get past divorce, get past the things they were facing. And it got to be an award-winning show early on, I think 2 or 3 years in a row. And then since then, I've started many other shows. I have my own radio station, Amazing Women and Men of Power, and a magazine, Amazing Women Magazine, and just continue to add on because I do believe in broadcasting your business, broadcasting your passion and profit. And the best way to do it is exactly what Alex says, mm-hmm. and that is to interview experts. Now, here's the irony of everything. I used to sneak to the neighborhood radio station, WJMO, at the age of 13. So you see, Clarence, that seed was planted early in my life. And I used to want to be a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher, educator. I wanted to train people. That was always in there. So here I am now, proudly at 67, and I'm doing all those things. I'm teaching, I'm training, I'm speaking. I have a radio station. And yes, I teach other people how to have a radio show, how to go from being a talk show host to a talk showpreneur, and teach them how to, be able to use the power of their voice and a heartfelt message, interviewing the best of the best. I like to teach people to go for the gusto, get the Jack Canfields, get the Les Browns, get the Lisa Sasevich, Oscar winner Lou Gossett Jr., Montel Williams, Lindsay Wagner, Fran Drescher. They've all been on my show several times, and I'm not in that circle. They did not know me. I just mastered what I call the irresistible ask, how to ask for it and how to do just a damn good interview. So they'll want to refer you people and they'll want to come back on your show.
Wow. That's awesome. So the outcome in working with you is they get to get these people on their show. And you said you're not in that circle, so you just reached out to them and
I just reached out to them. Because when I was at the hospital, I just made a list of the type of topics I wanted to cover, and then I would ask people, who do you know that would want to come on and empower the baby boomer women to go for their dreams and visions? And then every time I interviewed someone, I would ask them, who do you know that's just like you, that loves to empower, to love to help people get out of their pain and get on track of their purpose. And they would always give me someone. And then I forget, I know what it was. I was creating a vision board, and I wanted to put everybody that I would love to have a conversation with. And so I made the dream board. I put Montel on there, Jack Canfield on there, all the people on The Secret on there. And I think I've interviewed all but a couple of them. You know, I put Lisa Nichols on there, John D. Martini. And so, you know, I looked around at books I had, like Cynthia Kersey's Unstoppable. I put her on there. I had Think and Grow Rich. Naturally, Napoleon Hill is gone for years. He's been passed. But I was able to, because I put his book on my vision board, somehow, I can't even remember, I think somebody reached out to me and through our conversation realized that her aunt worked for Napoleon Hill Foundation, and they were able to get me an interview with Dr. J.B. Hill, Napoleon Hill's grandson. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Earl Nightingale's widow, Diana Nightingale, who I didn't know then, but she's a good friend of mine now. You know, I was able to interview her. And so, you know, I just started putting things and books and, you know, all that on my vision board. And I started attracting either that person or that family member, you know, somewhere down the line, like Martin Luther King Jr., his niece, Alveda King, you know, and Jackie Wilson's son, who looks just like him, Bobby Brooke Wilson, you know, so I just started attracting all these people, and then they would refer me to other people, you know, and that's how it all began.
That's awesome. So this begs, this is begging me to ask, who, dead or alive, would be the person that you would want to interview that you have not yet?
I know the answer to that, and I've got to applaud you because most of the time I say who it is without anybody asking me. So thank you for asking me. That person would be my mom. Ironically, my mother did live for 6 years later. But we talked about doing the interview, but it never came about. So every year now, my radio station and magazine, we do something for Mother's Day, and we encourage people all over the world to interview their moms and send in the recordings, and we give them a time that it's going to air on our station. You know, so that's kind of a big pet peeve because I didn't get a chance to interview my mom at all. And it was because of her and her situation and being in the hospital to where my life changed around. So unfortunately, I can never, ever get that interview. So for anyone that can hear my voice wherever you are at, if your mom is alive or your dad or your grandmom and dad, if you're one of the lucky ones, interview them. And then also we empower and encourage people to interview your kids and let your kids interview you. You know, should something happen, we all know we're not going to be here forever, but the one thing that you can have beyond the pictures and everything is an interview of your loved ones. And then when you want to go back and hear that voice and hear that interview, it's always there. My husband, Khalid, he has a 2-hour interview of his mom. He did 2 of them, and they were an hour each. And I, you know, of course, I was envious when I heard that he had that, and I listened to it. And I always tell him, boy, you got that. You'll always have that, you know. So I missed the interview of my mom, but I did start a magazine, Amazing Women Magazine. And in 2016, we put my mom on the cover, and we put along with other moms that were gone but not forgotten. And so we do a special May issue every year on that.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. The so with these interviews, what do you feel is the biggest advantage that your clients get from performing these interviews themselves?
Credibility, authority, you know, recognition. Because, see, people don't know you and I, Clarence, but they know the Lisa Sasevich, they know the Lisa Nichols, they know all these other great people, Mark Victor Hansen, Jack Canfield, whoever your sheroes and heroes are, you know, if they're big enough and if they're world renowned, this is why I teach people what I call interview up. You know, don't be scared to ask for the big one. You know, because people know them. They're the ones that's going to have all the social media people, and they're more likely than not have the social media reach and all that. So you want to hook your wagon to them. And what a great way to be able to do this, because you're able to service them and promote them. I teach people, you don't just reach out and ask for an interview just because of you. You do something in your research to find out what's hot for them. What are they trying to promote? Are they trying to promote a charity? They're promoting a book. They're promoting a launch. And then that's when you want to reach out and say, how can I service you? Congratulations. I see you're getting ready to do another launch. I love your launches. They're so great. The last time you had a launch, I remember and it was so great being able to share that to my list. I would love to know how I can service you. Love to be here to support you and do a interview if you're open to it, and we can talk about what you got coming up, what's hot, what's not, and push it out to my list and get other people to push it out as well. So this is what I teach people how to do. It's not about you. It's not even about your list to them or your audience as much as it is about what's in it for them. Okay. So instead of WIFM, what's in it for me, which we usually take that literally and we forget by thinking what's in it for me, we really make it all about us. But it's WIFT, what's in it for them, what's in it for the person that you're inviting. Why would they take out time to do this? They're getting hit by traditional radio, by podcasts, by, social, live stream, all that stuff. And now they got to make a choice and they can't say yes to everybody. So your irresistible ask better be really good and it better be really on point for them to come and do it if they don't know you.
Mm-hmm. What do you think some of the biggest kind of myths or misconceptions are that people have about interviewing up, as you say?
Fear. Fear of asking. Most of it is fear of asking, and they're thinking, well, why would they say yes to me? Mm-hmm. And that's a good point. And that's exactly why I said what I did a few minutes ago. They're not saying yes to you. They're saying, yes, this would benefit me. How?
I see.
Okay. You see what I'm saying? So again, you got to know what are they into? Are they so involved? What did someone in their family get sick or something and they may have mentioned it in the news or mentioned it in their newsletter? That's why it's important to sign up for the people you want to invite on your show. Sign up for their list. Be part of their Twitter and social media so you can know what's going on, because that's where they share the personal stuff. And it's the personal stuff you get them to say yes on. I remember when I had Chili from TLC. Remember Chili?
Oh, yeah.
Legendary TLC group.
Yes, Left Eye and all.
One time I asked them and they said no. Did they thank me? They're always polite about it. But they said not at this time. And then I noticed that someone had got her on their show, someone that was a competitor, and she talked about a charity that she was really close to. And I heard her voice crack. I heard her, get really sad and felt her passion through I felt her passion. I felt how deeply involved she was in. And so then I wrote her and told her about just two really touching points that I knew her voice cracked on, that I knew her voice changed on, that I knew and felt that she may have been even crying behind that mic on. And I touched her heart and talked about how this is perfect for my audience. And my audience are people that have experienced this and they would love to hear from. You see the difference, Clarence?
Yes.
And why she said yes that time versus the first time I was like, Chili, we would love to have you on. I love you. I'm a fan of yours. They hear that all the time. Mm-hmm. What else is new?
That goes back to that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Until they know how much you care. Yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely. So to get past those fears, you're saying, number one, do your homework and listen, sign up for their newsletters, their interviews, and actually have something to give them. Even if it's a warm feeling for them, right? So what's in it for them? Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
What's in it for them? What's in it for them? Just remember, why should they take out time to say? Now, remember, because you just say yes to you, because here's the thing we forget. We forget We're so into us at the moment and what we want. We forget that these people are getting requests all the time, Clarence.
Mm-hmm.
So why would they say no to, let's say, a traditional radio station, or why would they even put you on the level of a traditional radio station or a really, really popular podcast and they know nothing about you? It's got to be because they feel like you really are not just sending an email blast or picking up the phone and just calling everybody asking. They've got to feel like, hey, they've done their research. Wow,
Right,
she found,
right.
how did she know this?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell Hot 97 I can't come in today? I'm going to do Clarence Fisher's podcast instead.
Or it may happen like, I remember when my mother was alive, I was telling her, Mom, I'm going to interview Fran Drescher. I'm so excited. Fran Drescher's coming on. Fran Drescher coming on. And so it was like about, Fran was supposed to come on around 2. We're supposed to meet at 2. And it was like really getting close to 2, about 1:30. And so the phone rang. My mother was at the hospital at the time. And this will make you think of moms for sure. I'm like, hello. She's like, hey, baby. That moms can say that. Hey, baby. What you doing? When did you say Fran was going to come on? I'm like, oh, she should be calling in about 15 minutes. And she said, interesting, because I'm not quite sure, but I think that's her on Oprah.
Oh, really?
I'm like, what? Fran dished me for Oprah. And she did. I did get the interview, but it wasn't that day. She was indeed on Oprah.
Wow. Could you blame her?
I could not blame her. I wanted to say, move over and let me share the couch with you on Oprah.
Right. So does Fran really speak in that voice, or is that a character?
You know what? It's definitely a character. In fact, I remember kind of being disappointed on the phone. I mean, I remember, saying, wow, I could have had a V8 juice. This is what I was thinking in the midst of interviewing her. She was so serious and so not the Fran Drescher that I was excited about. And I remember saying in the interview, because I was trying to I'm trying very hard in this interview to pump myself up, because I really felt like, wow, I don't feel excited about this interview.
Right, right.
And I asked her to do the famous Fran Drescher laugh, and she said, ha ha. And I'm like, it was not one of my favorite interviews. It came out at the end. We were able to connect, but we weren't connecting. And then I learned through the process of doing that interview, I went back to listen to it, and there was just no connection there most of the time. We finally connected, I think, towards the end, but it took a while. She wasn't connecting with me, and I was definitely, didn't connect with her because she didn't show up the way I wanted her to show up. That was the way I wanted to show up. Had I did my homework and listened to more heartfelt interviews from her, I would have realized that was just Fran on TV. Fran on person is different. She doesn't do all that laughing and stuff, So that's when I learned it's really important to research. And I also learned that some really key points that I want to share with your listeners. If you're thinking about interviewing, remember it's about you also connecting with that person. And most bigger people, influencers, top influencers or celebrities, you're not going to have a get to know you moment. But if you're just interviewing everyday people like Clarence and I and friends that or people that or were referred to, try to get a 5-minute get to know you moment. So that you can have a connection there, because your audience needs to feel like you guys have a connection. For the other ones, for the celebrities and the top-notch experts, you really need to listen to interviews of them. Listen to a couple interviews of them, and try to listen to 2 or 3, and from them see, try to listen to. When do they get excited? Is their voice flat? Is it monotone? Or do they raise it up? Do they talk fast? Do they talk slow? Do they talk so much that you can only get in maybe 2 questions out your interview? These are things that you need to know prior to, so that you can handle your interview very well and very on point. And I can tell you this, if they do not say your name anytime in the interview and they're just being robotic and answering questions, there's not a connection. So you can flip that around by calling their name more and getting to their heart. Get past their head and get to their heart.
I hope that everyone listening understands the gold that you are dropping. I didn't share this with you because I'm here as a student myself. I spent probably the bulk of my career as an employee, about 10 years in radio.
Oh, wow. How cool.
So, worked my way up from overnight, how that starts and all that. But I failed with so many interviews from, like you say, celebrities that called in. I remember one time, the first one maybe was like a guy named Bow Wow called in. There was not that warm up. Ludacris, another hip hop, there was not that warm up. And one thing that you said, that it is your job as the interviewer to do the research, and you have to make that connection with them. And it's so quick when it's a superstar. I really wish I would have known you and what you do way back then. I'd probably be in a big market or something.
Hey, but it's not too late. We know each other now, and we both can learn from each other. And you're 100% right. It's research. For real estate people, it's what do they say? Location. For us, for anybody that aspires to interview, whether it's for your telesummit, whether it's for your book, whether it's for a product, radio show, live stream, podcast, whatever, it's research. One of the things I teach my clients, Clarence, is what we call the ICON interview formula. And I is investigate. That's the research. I already went over that with you guys, some tips on there. C is the connect. And the best way that you can connect with the gatekeeper, who could be their manager, their publicist, whoever, or connect with them if they answer their phone, is for you to do step one, which is investigate in your homework. Because then when you go to the call, you can go with them and say, hey, I just heard this interview last week. I stumbled across, or someone shared with me, where Damon John was talking about da-da-da-da-da when he first started. I had heard this story so much before, but I recall this particular interview, Damon mentioned this. And when I heard that, I said, I felt immediately overpowered. I felt the emotion to reach out, and I hope you don't mind me giving you a call, but I wanted to reach out and connect with you, because when Damon said this, it touched on this, and I said, this is perfect for our audience, perfect for Damon John, because of this. So you're giving them the reason why. You're letting them know this is not an email blast. You heard something. You saw something in the news, and you pulled out something that even the gatekeeper knows is important to Damon John. Do you see what I'm saying, Clarence? So that's the connection part. And then the other part is O, and this is my ICON interview formula. O stands for own your message, own your audience, own your platform. I teach my clients to never say, I've got this Facebook Live show, or I got this Periscope show, or I got this podcast show. No, just say, hey, I've got this rocking show. It's all about empowering baby boomer women to go for their dreams and visions no matter what. And Lisa Nichols, I know that one of your first books that you came out with was No Matter What. And we were talking to our audience last week about getting past the pain, getting past the struggle and stuff. And all of a sudden, your beautiful face came to my mind. I said, I've got to reach out to Lisa. Lisa, I'm so glad that I'm talking to you on the phone, because I want you to come on our show to talk to our listeners about what no matter what really means. How do they push past their pain and their power to get to their purpose? I know on page 36 in your book, you talked about such and such and such. I would love for the audience to hear this coming from your voice. Lisa, would you be open to coming on our show and empowering our women to really understand the meaning behind no matter what?
It's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is how much.
So
how
that's
much time
owning the platform. You notice I didn't say I got a podcast. I said I have a rockin' show,
Right.
and I went right into the message. Don't talk your show down.
Right.
Talk it up, baby. You got a show. It doesn't matter if it's terrestrial. It doesn't matter if it's nowadays. It doesn't matter. Years ago, it mattered. Nowadays, it doesn't matter. Some of the biggest stars coming out now are off of YouTube. You just have a show, and what's the message of the show, and why does Lisa or that guest need to be part of it? And then the other part is this is huge. Get to the nitty gritty. Get to the nitty gritty. Get to the nitty gritty. Okay. Don't give them your whole history. Give them the facts and close it out.
Wow.
Do your irresistible ask. If you notice, I did not say, would you be interested? Never, ever, ever, ever. Whether it's for a guest or whether it's for selling a product or bringing on a new client, don't ever put the word interested in your mouth.
The answer is always
no. They will say
right?
no.
Right.
Yeah. Will you be open to? Say that with me, Clarence. Will you be open to? And see how that feels. 1, 2, 3, go. Will you be open to?
Everyone wants to feel like they're open.
Yeah. You see that even lifts the burden of you saying it.
Mm-hmm. What? So, man, wow. You shared a lot. Thank you. And this is what, so I guess the only other obstacle that people may have, because you share so much with helping them solve this problem, is probably technology.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that offline.
Right.
And can I share what I shared with you?
Yes, absolutely.
I was sharing with Clarence because we were talking about technology because he was having a little glitch, and that happens to me at all. I mean, I've actually been interviewing Mark Victor Hansen, and I remember one time the computer went down and all kind of stuff happened on Blab. So there's nothing around technology. I mean, you can't stop it. We don't have control. It could be the change in Chrome that day, and there was an update that you missed, and that's why your live stream's not going on. So, but what I was trying to share with you, Clarence, and I want to pass on to your audience, is just remember, keep it simple, stupid, okay? Or keep it easy breezy. Don't, just because everybody else is out there and they're using Facebook Live, Be Live, and all this other stuff, do not set your most important interview up like that. You better do a whole lot of little interviews before you do a interview that you just got to have and you want it. The best way that you could do that interview is do it on a free conference call line. Do it on Zoom. You can use their phone and just put slides with it later. If you do want to do a video, then I would definitely say Zoom has their technology down pat. I love Be Live too, but Zoom, I have never had a problem with Zoom. Sometimes I may have a problem with Be Live. Sometimes I may have a problem with Facebook Live. Don't worry about it doing live right now. Get that person pre-recorded, and then you can syndicate it out wherever you want to go. And knowing that there's not going to be any mistakes because you've already pre-recorded it, you've already edited it, and now you're letting it out to the world the way you want them to see it. So you got to look at what your comfort zone is and know that if you do it live, anything can happen, and you better be ready for it. It happens to me all the time. All kind of crazy stuff happens. And, if that's not your comfort zone, and most people will not do an interview or will not broadcast because they're always worried about what things, what people are going to say, then definitely keep it easy. Do it on the phone, free conference call line, do it on Zoom, pre-record it, and then unleash it later. I always tell people it's not about the technology. As long as your sound comes out clear, your video is clear, you're okay. You don't have to have the best mic, the best equipment, all that. Keep your headset near you because that will keep out some of the noise and the echoing and things like that. But mainly what I would like to teach my clients, Clarence, to do is focus on your delivery of the interview. And if you're just starting out, here's what I did. My first probably 20 to 50 interviews was ask a question. Here you go, Clarence. Lean in. You guys lean in. You got to hear this. Ask a question, then zip it. Ask the next question, then zip it. Ask the next question, then zip it. Now, if they say something that stirs up something that you can really naturally and authentically let it go and let it flow and really have a conversation with them about it, then do that. But keep it short and don't make it all about you, but engage and talk about it, and so that you guys can make the connection. Then once you do that, go back and ask a question, zip it. Ask a question, zip it.
Wow. So, thank you. I'm want to ask you one more question. I know we're coming up on time. What do you think people should ask themselves when they're considering starting a podcast and going down this road to interview?
I think you should ask yourself, what will this do for my business? Having a conversation with these great people, with people that I've read their books or I've seen them on social media. What would it do for my career? But more importantly, ask yourself, what will it do in my self-development? I can tell you from the girl or the woman that was 55 years old, making $10 an hour, that had never interviewed and never been on radio, although the dream was in her since she was 13, but the fear was there too. I can tell you that it has literally changed my life. That Alex Mendozian is not 100%. He's 200% right. And Alex and I are very good friends now. He calls me his sister from a different Mr. or something like that. And, but it has changed my life. And the quickest way to become an expert is to interview the experts, but interview up. But start with the ones around you. Start with bestsellers. Start with the ones that have really large Facebook groups. Go out there and do about 10 of them and get used to them. And then reach up to the higher ones. Make your vision board and just go for it. You know, my life is so different now. You know, I remembered one time I was in a bad marriage and I was just thinking about, why should I be here? I literally was in a closet considering taking my life, looking at a gun. And because I was so fearful of this guy that I was married to, and then I felt like he never would let me speak. I thought, like, when I was younger, my family wouldn't let me speak. I felt like, if you guys that are listening that are older like me remember Casper the Ghost, I felt like Casper the Friendly Ghost. I felt like I was always being dismissed, never heard, never recognized, no matter how hard I worked or tried to do or please. Just did not have the recognition that I felt like I deserved. And I felt so low, I was actually considering taking my life. This was in the 90s. In 2017, I was presented with the 2016 Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, walked across the stage, didn't see the president. This was in Atlanta. One of his ambassadors held the event, and I was there with maybe about 50 other people, and I was pinned, a presidential pin, and they said, on behalf of the 45th president of the United States, you know, thank you for your service. Thank you for giving back in the way you do. And the only thing I've done was interview and broadcast, but somebody felt that it made such a difference in their life that I've been nominated for that. I never would have seen that. I hate my mom and dad were not alive to witness it. I did take a picture of both of them and had it in my pocket, you know, so I could feel close to them. But that's what interview can do for you. It brought me, at the age of, I guess, 66 then, the recognition that I was so busy wanting, that in 98 or 90, not 98, I think it was closer to 94, 95, was considering taking my life. I had developed myself, my skills, my knowledge along the way. I had began to teach and educate, which as a kid I wanted to do. Along the way, I learned to get out of myself and start servicing others. And I mean, there's been many other awards before that, but that one definitely will always make a big mark in my life. That's what I have to say. You know, there's so much for you. Don't wait to be great. Do it now. And service others in whatever gift you have. Get out of yourself. And I think Zig Ziglar was known for saying the quickest way to become, what was his, that wasn't his. If you want to help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want without expecting it, you know. And so service and help. And I think what I learned from doing these interviews was, you know, the reason I never got what I thought I want, you know, the recognition and the attention and all the stuff that I wanted and felt I needed was because I was always wanting it and thinking about me. But when I started interviewing Jack and Lisa and all these great people, I learned what servicing was really about. I learned what being a leader was really about. And so every time you interview them, a piece of it will rub off on you. And then the next interview, another piece, and the next interview, another piece. And then you'll start seeing that people will start finding you. You'll start attracting the right opportunities, the right people. So just do it. Don't try to figure it out. Don't try to dot the I's and cross the T's. Just go out there and just do your first interview and then do your next and do your next. And it doesn't have to be for a show. You could do something around a series or calls. Maybe you're for, older people not being mistreated or younger people not being ignored or whatever it is. Find what you're passionate about. Find some people, you know, anywhere from 7 to 12 people that you can interview that you can ask the questions that your listeners want. And you can find out from your listeners what questions they want. And you can go out there and interview the experts to come share their story, share their truth, share their failures, share their success strategies and formulas. And then you can package that up into a book, into an audio series, and you can become famous. You can become known. You can get paid from interviewing them. And also you'll be servicing others as well. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, Ms. Raven, I am so glad that you are here and that our paths cross. I am grateful for that. I am inspired and empowered. I feel empowered to continue to do take action and to follow you myself. And so how do I get and listeners get, plugged in to you?
Well, there's several ways. First of all, I'm just going to send everyone to Facebook.com/Talk Show Maven. And I don't know if you're going to have something written behind this, but maybe you can put that link in there. Facebook.com/Talk Show Maven. And that's the channel that we air. Mostly all of my current interviews will air there. So you can stay plugged in and listen to some great interviews from there. I'm also excited to share right now. You're the first show that I've been on to share this since then, that we hit #1 bestseller for our recently released Kindle book. It's called Conversations Behind the Mic. Wow. It's only $1.99. Run, don't walk. Go get Conversations Behind the Mic, because in that book, it's the first ever book, Clarence, where all talk show hosts are on the cover. And everyone shared their best guest interview. We even have interviews of Alex Mendozian, the one that is one of my favorite mentors. He interviewed Donald Trump back when he was doing The Apprentice. So that interview is in there. My interview with Montel Williams and Lindsay Wagner is in there. My husband's interview with Herbie Hancock is in there. There's an interview with Bonnie DeBarge in there from one of my hosts, Dean. There's somebody from 24, Glenn Morshower interviews in there. A lady by the name of Melody interviewed him. And everyday people with extraordinary stories. There's 50 interviews in there, and 8 of them are top celebrity interviews. And the way we did it is you'll get to read the transcript, You'll learn different interview styles from all of us there. You'll learn the questions we ask, and it's called Conversations because we're all having conversations with these people. And then at the end, we didn't put the whole transcript in there, but we put enough in there to get your appetite wet. And then all you do is click on the link and it will take you to the actual audio or video. So it's called Conversations Behind the Mic. And in the back of the book, there's a section called Ravens Recommends. There's 50 free gifts in there waiting for you, Clarence, and your audience. So run, don't walk. Go to Amazon.com and spend $1.99 and get your Kindle version today.
Awesome. I am there. Well, thank you. Thank you for your time, Raven. We really appreciate it. And that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you got as much as I did, and I will see you next time. Remember, you can make it happen. Just make it happen.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.